This is CBC Winnipeg News.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. A horrific tragedy in Vancouver is resonating with Canadians from coast to coast to coast. 11 people are dead, dozens more injured after a driver slammed into people at the crowded Lapu Lapu Day Festival. The youngest victim, just 5 years old. That pain is being felt deeply here in Winnipeg's tight-knit Filipino community, where tonight they're holding an interfaith community vigil. For more, we're joined by the CBC's Ian Fraze live at the Philippine Canadian Centre of Manitoba. So Ian, what's happening there tonight?
Yeah, in about an hour, this will be a chance for community members in the Filipino community and beyond to gather together and to mourn in this what should be a somber occasion. This interfaith vigil is one of several being organized across the country this week. It is scheduled to start in about an hour. It's in response to what happened on Saturday in Vancouver at a Filipino street festival when the driver of an SUV slammed into the crowd. A 30-year-old man has been charged with 8 counts of murder. Here in Winnipeg, MLA Jaylene Dela Cruz is organizing a vigil.
Here in Manitoba, in Winnipeg rather, we have the highest per capita population of Filipino peoples. And what that means is that when there is a hit to the Filipino community and we are harmed, the entire community feels that harm because we are so integrated in the framework and in the fabric of this province.
People have been setting up over the last few hours, laying out chairs, preparing food, practicing the music. Dela Cruz says that she herself has a family friend that was hurt in this event, a dad and his 2-year-old son. The dad is now out of hospital, but the 2-year-old remains in intensive care at this moment. That family had just recently moved from Winnipeg to Vancouver. Here's more from Dela Cruz.
They're from the same province as my dad is in Iloilo, and they speak the same Ilonggo dialect. And so, yeah, that's another layer as well, you know, another phenomenon, if you will, seeing this happen to someone who whose journey you followed and you share is really sitting with my family right now.
Tonight's event will include songs and words from various faith leaders. Everyone is welcome to attend. It starts at 7 p.m. and then an hour later, a chance for visiting and for individual prayers. Brittany.
All right, thank you, Ian. That's CBC's Ian Fraze this evening. Now, authorities in BC say the man accused in that deadly vehicle attack was under the care of a mental health team. But they say there were no signs he required involuntary hospitalization. The 30-year-old accused is Kai G. Adam Lowe, and he's facing several counts of second-degree murder, and more charges are expected. 9 of the 11 dead are women, 2 are men, all lived in Metro Vancouver. 7 people are still in critical condition in hospital. 3 others remain in serious condition. Lowe remains in custody. CBC News is projecting a Liberal minority government. It comes after many hours and late reporting polls. Ashley Burke has the latest on what's being called the biggest reversal of political fortunes in modern Canadian history.
After a long night and not much sleep, the Prime Minister arrived at his office, getting back to work, fresh off his election win that seemed unimaginable just a few months ago.
Who's ready to stand up for Canada with me?
Mark Carney tapped into the threat of Donald Trump to help dramatically reverse his party's fortunes.
I am going to begin with the value of humility.
He campaigned up until the last minute, asking for a strong mandate, but came up just shy of a majority.
After this most consequential election, let's put an end to the division and anger of the past.
Carney's calling for Canadians to unite to take on Trump.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bruce Fanjoy says the U.S. president changed the race. It helped him secure the second biggest victory for the Liberals.
It's a remarkable story, this race in Carleton.
500 volunteers helped him beat Pierre Poilievre, unseating the Conservative leader for the first time in 20 years.
They recognized that we faced this threat and focus on who is best able to lead Canada through this moment.
Liberal Stephen Guilbeault says just months ago he thought the party would lose and says a win is a win.
I think it is more complicated in a minority government, but it doesn't mean that things can't get done. And I think now, by the looks of it, we would have two dense partners.
Marcy Sirk says the Liberals could still come up with creative solutions to cobble together a majority by trying to get NDP members to join their party or work with other parties on a case-by-case basis.
We like majorities because they're neat and tidy, but this is a very strong minority by any account. So the Liberals absolutely can govern in this circumstance.
The Prime Minister's office says Carney spoke to Trump today, and the U.S. president congratulated him on his election, and that the two leaders agreed on the importance of working together as independent sovereign nations and agreed to meet in person in the near future. Ashley Burke, CBC News, Ottawa.
Meantime, here in Manitoba, 3 seats changed hands last night. The Liberal Party made gains in this province. The Conservatives ended up in a draw, and the New Democrats came within a whisker of annihilation. CBC's Bartlett Kivas breaks down the changes.
I'm back.
Applause at the Holiday Inn West on Portage Avenue for Liberal Doug Ailofson, who's returning to Ottawa after a hiatus as an MP. In the newly renamed riding of Winnipeg West, Ailofson defeated Conservative Marty Morantz, who defeated Ailofson in 2019.
I would like to thank Marty Morantz for his work representing us for the last 6 years. Marty, you worked hard for us through challenging times, and we thank you.
The Conservatives lost this Winnipeg West rematch, the 4th consecutive battle between Morantz and Ailofson. But the Tories picked up a different Winnipeg seat in a different rematch. The second contest in 7 months in Elmwood, Transcona, between the NDP's Leela Dance and Conservative Colin Reynolds. In September, the collapse of the Liberal vote gave Dance a by-election victory. Last night, the Liberal vote quadrupled in this riding, allowing Reynolds to take this dance.
Today might not have been what we were hoping for, but I know I personally am going to keep giving back to this community the way I have for my whole life.
Outside of Winnipeg, there was only one change. It involved yet another rematch. In 2015, the NDP's Nikki Ashton held off a challenge from Liberal Rebecca Chartrand in Churchill Kuwait Newcastle. Last night, Chartrand defeated Ashton and is slated to be the first Indigenous MP in Manitoba's northernmost riding since 2008.
There's nearly 80% Indigenous people in this riding. I think our people are more engaged with federal and provincial politics, and they're understanding what a vote means.
There are 2 other new faces in Manitoba, albeit in ridings that didn't change hands. Jeanette Levac is the Liberal MP-elect for St. Boniface St. Vital. She succeeds Dan Vandal, and former PC MLA Grant Jackson is a Conservative MP-elect for Brandon Souris, taking over from Larry Maguire. The election leaves Manitoba with 7 Conservative MPs, no change from the last election. The Liberals gained 2 seats in this province, and Manitoba now has just 1 new Democrat, Leah Gazan, in Winnipeg Centre. Bartlett Kivas, CBC News, Winnipeg.
More than 19 million Canadians exercised their right to vote in the federal election, and here in Manitoba there was a wide gap in turnout between the north and south part of the province. The highest voter turnout was in Winnipeg West with more than 75%, followed by Winnipeg South Centre with around 74%. Meantime, on the low end, nearly 43% of eligible voters in the riding of Churchill-Kiwadnagaski voiced their say. The Canadian average was just over 68%. It was the highest voter turnout since 2015. And while it wasn't a record, it did have a record 7.3 million advanced votes. Let's bring in Riley Lachuk now. And Riley, it was a bit of a cooler election day and post-election day today.
Yeah, I mean, a little bit of wind today. We got the sun back, Brittany, but you can start to see our next weather maker on the horizon here. This area of low pressure in Saskatchewan dragging down along a bit of a trough here, some precipitation that has started to move into western parts of the province. This moves to the east as we get through the night tonight, so do expect maybe a few showers across the south overnight. Getting to 11 degrees in Winnipeg as forecast this afternoon. 15 in Brandon, looking at a fairly good chance of showers in Winnipeg. The further north you are into the Interlake, that's where we have the better chance of seeing a few showers into the morning hours tomorrow. A few scattered showers still lingering, a bit of a gray day once again. We'll try to get some sunshine back into the afternoon. Up to 18 degrees. We'll talk about some high 20s and the Whiteout Party when I come back.
Amazing. Thank you, Riley.
You're welcome.
Well, a different outcome last night could have put hundreds of millions in federal housing dollars on the chopping block. We'll have the latest on that straight ahead. Some city council members offered their reactions to the federal election results. They say the win for the Liberal Party means federal funding for housing programs will continue. CBC's Cameron McLean reports.
Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre promised to axe many Liberal spending plans, like the multi-billion-dollar Housing Accelerator Fund.
Since he started forking over these big checks, construction has gone down in the major municipalities that has received it. So will he cut the bureaucracy, axe the tax, and build the home?
Along with other programs like the Canada Housing Infrastructure Fund, they all add up to hundreds of millions of dollars for the City of Winnipeg to change zoning rules and speed up construction. Until a few months ago, polls appeared to show the Conservatives on the path to winning. And people like St. Vital councillor Brian Mays questioned whether the city should go ahead with the changes, allowing fourplexes and up to 4 stories near frequent transit. Mays says he still has concerns about those changes, but the Liberal win means at least the city can rest assured it will get its money.
If you're only doing this to get federal money and then you're not sure if you're going to get the money, I think we've resolved that. It certainly looks like the money is going to be there.
Mayor Scott Gillingham says he's glad the city has held up its end of the funding agreements, planning a hearing on the proposed zoning changes in June.
So it was very important that we maintain our course, continue to act in good faith in accordance with the terms of the Housing Accelerator Fund agreement that we as the City of Winnipeg signed.
He says his top priority remains getting funding to finish the North End sewage treatment plant. Cameron McLean, CBC News, Winnipeg.
A man and woman are dead in what police say is a domestic incident in the city. It happened in Winnipeg's West End Monday afternoon. CBC's Felicia Adam has more on what we know so far.
Police tape surrounds these homes on Sherbourne Street. They are markers of what police are calling a domestic incident in the West End neighborhood. Police say they found a man and a woman in critical condition Monday just after 2 in the afternoon. Both later died in hospital. Many people living on the block say they are concerned about their safety.
To have that happen in this area where, it's nice and quiet, and everybody almost knows each other is just, it's really shocking to hear.
It's really shocking, honestly. This is one of the last streets in the West End I would expect this to happen on.
Chelsea Thompson has lived on the street for 7 years with her family.
There was a fire truck, ambulance, a ton of cop cars, and then they roped off the neighborhood.
She says she's never seen anything like this, but with 2 young kids, she worries.
It's quite quiet on the street, and it's filled with families, so this stuff doesn't really happen.
Police haven't released much information about circumstances surrounding the homicides. The ages of the man and woman are not known. While police are investigating, they say they don't believe the public is in any danger and they aren't looking for suspects. Felicia Adam, CBC News, Winnipeg.
As violent incidents rise and the opioid crisis deepens, Brandon police are developing a downtown safety strategy. It's in hopes of managing growing call volumes and public safety concerns. Right now, downtown businesses are feeling the strain. CBC's Chelsea Kemp has more.
Brandonites will soon see more Brandon police cadets patrolling the downtown streets. They're part of a safety plan for the Corps. Brandon's police chief says both violence and calls to police are up.
We need to make sure that it's a safe, secure environment and that we do our utmost to contribute to the safety of our downtown.
Brandon Downtown Biz met with police to help build the safety strategy. Executive Director Emmy Sanderson says people are on edge after 2 recent random assaults.
Their customers don't feel safe coming down here. And I would say, unfortunately, we've had a couple really random incidences this year. And it just kind of amplifies that sense of, are we safe?
At the Brandon General Museum and Archives, tours often include answering questions about safety downtown. Keith Waterfield says a woman recently died after an assault next door to the museum. Police have made an arrest and say it wasn't random. Waterfield says they need to get more people walking around downtown to build a sense of community and safety.
The more people that are down here, the more people are going to feel safe. That's just the bottom line.
Police Chief Tyler Bates says police will use the information gathered from downtown residents and businesses to create their safety plan.
We're not going to arrest our way out of this problem. We need to work hand in hand to provide support to a vulnerable population if we're going to make progress with this particular challenge that lies ahead.
Bates says police are also working on a Safe Walk program. He says they'll know their safety plans are working if they see a drop in calls and violent incidents. Chelsea Kemp, CBC News, Brandon.
Riley's back in now, and I feel like we had such a beautiful weekend and then a little chilly yesterday and today. Jets back in action here in Winnipeg tomorrow for Game 5 for the whiteout.
It's a late one, though.
Is it going to be a white T-shirt? Is it going to be a white sweater? Do we need two?
Take both. Take both. Probably not the toque.
Yeah,
I mean,
it is
not,
a later game.
Yeah.
It's an 8:30 start.
-9 in Winnipeg last night. Not going to be that cold tomorrow night, but, you know, a sweater probably not a bad idea.
But you do have some really good-looking news for a couple days
yes.
from now,
So
and I know you're going to get into that, but whew, my goodness, we're in for a treat.
Let's start with the whiteout forecast before we get there. We'll start with tomorrow because, I mean, daytime high tomorrow, 18 degrees in Winnipeg. By the time we get into that whiteout into the evening hours, looking at 17 degrees when gates open during the supper hour tomorrow. So a pretty decent evening. Mainly cloudy skies. We'll get some sunny breaks as we get into the later part of the day tomorrow. By the time puck drops at 8:30, yes, it's a late game, 12 degrees. Northwest winds gusting up to 30. So a bit of a northwesterly breeze. Shouldn't be too bad, though. But once the sun goes down, and that game is ending around 11 o'clock, dipping to around 9. So that's why I say maybe not a bad idea to take a white sweater with you tomorrow. But for the start of the game, at least, a T-shirt probably fine. As we get into the day on Wednesday, do expect that we'll see a few showers. This is the leading edge of some of that precipitation as it makes its way into Manitoba through the night into the morning on Wednesday. As you can see, by Wednesday morning, it's pretty much done. Just a few scattered showers left along this frontal boundary here as it pushes its way into northwestern Ontario. But certainly the Parkland overnight into the Inner Lake, expecting probably some periods of rain tonight. The further south you are, the less of a chance we see of that. We get some sunshine back, but as we get into Thursday, we'll do this again. Another weak system pushes through as we get into the morning hours, even into the afternoon. I think we do on Thursday have a slight chance, according to this forecast model at least, of seeing maybe a few showers. So yeah, maybe a couple of rounds of it on and off over the next 48 hours or so, but really not looking at much in the way of accumulation for most of us anyway. I mean, we still do need the rain because it's still quite dry, particularly into the Parkland and into the Inner Lake, still looking at some pretty dry conditions. 5 to 10 millimeters, particularly through the Inner Lake, not out of the question by the time we get to the supper hour tomorrow. More like maybe a millimeter or two and some scattered showers through the Red River Valley into northwestern Ontario. So maybe expect a bit of a wet sidewalk first thing in the morning tomorrow. Overnight temperatures look like this, down to 5 degrees in Winnipeg, 7 in Portage. That cloud cover keeping some of this warmth in as we get through the night. 6 degrees in Dauphin, 0 in Thompson overnight with a mainly cloudy sky. The clouds staying in the north as we get through the day on Wednesday. Maybe topping 20 degrees in the southwestern corner of the province. And looking into the next few days, 14 degrees for Thursday, and how about 15 for Friday? Brittany, goes up from there. More on that coming up.
Okay, thank you, Riley.
You're welcome.
Well, look at this Jets fan. He turns 102 in May, but his love for the Jets, that's as strong as ever. We'll meet him when we come back.
All right, how about a dog walking forecast? A bit of a soggy one for Agnes tomorrow morning. Thank you, Duncan and Jan, for sending this picture in. You can send yours to talkback@cbc.ca. Like always, a few scattered showers. First thing in the morning, up to 18 degrees in the afternoon. By the time we get to late afternoon, we get some sunshine back, but staying mainly cloudy through the evening as we get into the overnight hours. Maybe a few more showers into Thursday. 14 degrees, and then here's the grand reveal into Saturday. Sunshine, 24 degrees, 27 on the way for Sunday. Some of the longer range models actually have us closer to 30 by the time we get to Sunday, but we'll stay at 27 for now.
I don't hate it.
Yeah. If you think you're the biggest Jets fan around, you might be beat by Shoal Lake's Peter Nychuk.
He's turning 102 next month. His passion for the game, that's our Daily Lift.
We went to watch the Jets, and it was pretty exciting just to be part of the community, I would say. Dad had a beer. You had some pierogies when we watched the Jets, and they won. It was awesome during the whiteout. Well, the fact that Dad's 102, he can go there. It's about life force, right? My dad has a passion for the game. He's got this fire inside him. Sit there, enjoy Estella's, watch something that is so beautiful. And in his dementia, it's just about being. Dad sort of depicts hockey in Canada because he loves it so much. You know, he helped our small town. There were some people from Shoal Lake in the crowd that were coming up and shaking your hand because you're going to be 102 in May. What I've committed to myself is that if every round I'm taking my dad to the first game. That's what I'm going to do. I'll just keep him going. We're going to go to every round. We're going to the first game. We'll try to snag those tickets going, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to go be part of it. If they win, we're going to go be part of that party with the Stanley Cup. What do you say? Will we go have a beer and cheers to the parade?
Yeah.
Better.
Maybe a Jets win as an early birthday present tomorrow. Of course, Game 5 starts at 8:30. CBC will be carrying a doubleheader with Montreal.
So you can watch us over on our CBC News Manitoba streaming channel on your smart TV and YouTube. That's where you'll find us tomorrow.
We'll see ya.
See ya.
Have a great night.